Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My fiance is quite well off, and while I don't make as much as him, I certainly would not be struggling on my own. He rotates between a few very expensive watches that he wears to work. And while we have a good grasp on financial literacy, we aren't shy about spending for the important parts of life. We openly share finances, so I know he isn't secretly in debt or any such nonsense. The ring is nice and understated, but more of a nice stacker than an engagement ring to show off. The stone, which I'm doubtful of being a diamond, is quite small. It is not heirloom. When friends or family get engaged, there is always the excitement in sharing the news, and inevitably, someone will ask to see the ring, and then everyone coos over it, and it's a good time. When I showed mine, the mood got awkward, and they feigned excitement just long enough until it was okay to change the topic. This is not a knock on them, they are just terrible liars. I would like to make clear that I am not expecting a 3-month salary ring or an over-the-top wedding. However, this is a piece I will be wearing daily for decades and is largely considered a symbol of his love. I know not all feel this way, but we do, or at least I thought we did. But I really don't think I'm out of line for thinking of it as a long-term investment piece, given the amount of wear it will see and the sentimentality behind it. Surely it's worth more than a gaming console. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I thought I would just put the answers here. We had briefly talked about overall style, and he has access to my jewelry box to know the stuff I typically wear. As the price of the ring wasn't very important to me, the budget for it was never really discussed, which I see as a mistake now, but I didn't realize that this could be a problem. Price is not important so much as I don't care if he spent $1,000 or $100,000 on it. But this ring looks cheap. It is not quality craftsmanship. The dampened excitement of showing off my ring was only part of my post. The rest being that this drastic lowball on a piece I will be wearing every day for the rest of my life doesn't seem like the symbol of love one traditionally associates with engagement and wedding pieces. It's about having a very wealthy fiancé that invests more into the latest gaming console than he does a lifelong symbol of our love. To you, a ring might just be a ring, but unless otherwise discussed, it would be silly to assume it to be a throwaway item. In my culture, as well as the engagement ring, it is paired with the wedding band, not replaced. We share our finances, and I saw the charge in the bank statement. If he paid in cash as well, then he overpaid. Given that he has bought me more expensive jewelry in the past and sees what I wear on a regular basis, for him to lowball an important item this much seems pretty far out of left field and not something I would thought I would have needed to clarify to him, even if we had a longer conversation about it. Obviously, in hindsight, I should have. I think I am more hurt with what it says to give your fiancé such a low-priced ring when money clearly isn't the issue, than the fact that the ring itself was low budget. If we were worse off and $150 took effort to save for, I would be over the moon at what he got me and shoving it in everyone's face. However, this is not remotely the case. He has gifted diamond studs and other fine jewelry before and will splurge a bit more if it's something for the both of us. For example, a surprise getaway weekend for a holiday. He doesn't throw his money around needlessly, but he isn't stingy. To be blunt, it's a cheap ring, in look and cost. Yes, he could have spent hours picking out the indie jeweler to get the ring that is nothing like what I have or have ever mentioned liking in a much lower price bracket than we would ordinarily spend on just regular accessories. However, I don't feel like I'm making a large leap in assuming he didn't. To me, this is about more than just the fact that he didn't get the exact style I had in mind. I also take exception to the people here acting like being unhappy with the ring means I'm unhappy with the engagement. Nowhere have I ever said this to be the case. Life isn't an all-or-nothing game. I can be unhappy with the ring while still being madly in love with my fiancé and thrilled to spend our lives together. We will be talking about this for sure, but I know this can be a touchy subject and wanted an objective eye on it first. I will update this post after the conversation. Update. He came home and we were settling down, and around dinner I started the conversation with, "Honey, I'd like to talk about the ring." And before I could finish, he just blew up. Started yelling, "Ducking, finally!" and how I'd ruined everything by waiting so long. To be brief, he bought a crappy ring from a jeweler who got bad reviews so that when I got upset over it, he could dump me over the guise that I was a gold digger. He has apparently been having an affair. Turns out COVID had shortened his work hours, not extended, with a younger model that he's earned, but knew that breaking things off when everyone loved me so much would hurt his optics. So he had to make it my fault. He knew that leaving this pariah ship would gain him sympathy, and there was a lot of rhetoric that clearly wasn't his own words, but something he was parroting, from what I highly suspect is from a much too influential work friend that I've had disagreements with in the past. Changes I had attributed to work stress are glaringly obvious to me now as symptoms of something more malicious under the surface, and I feel really ashamed I didn't see things more clearly earlier, or wasn't somehow able to head things off before they got this far. I won't be sticking around to dig any deeper, but I know my ex-fiance would not have done and said the things he did without being pushed from bad influences behind the scenes. This doesn't mean I forgive him. I think he is incredibly weak and feeble-minded for letting this happen to us. But I also doubt I will be contacting many of our mutual friends as the dust settles. I left in the middle of his tirade, around the 15-minute mark, and am staying with my mother. I haven't cried yet, and I think I'm still waiting for it all to suddenly make sense, but I know logically it might not ever. What a coward is OP's ex-fiance. OP should be happy because she dodged the bullet. I, 24 female, and my fiance, 25 male, have gotten engaged. Everything so far with planning has been going smoothly, except this point of contention between my mom and I. I want my dad to walk me down the aisle. We have had an amazing relationship for as long as I can remember. I love my dad so much and consider him an extremely important person in my life. The issue is that my mom doesn't want my dad to have as big a role in my wedding. My mom and dad had a vicious divorce 16 years ago. There was verbal, emotional abuse by both, as well as manipulation and threats thrown down. My mother has found it hard to let this go over the past years, no judgment. However, this has led to her continuing her point of view from the past 16 plus years that my father is an a-hole, that he should go to HELL, that he never did anything for our family, etc. With all of that, she is furious that I want my father to walk me down the aisle. Her main point is that with everything he has done, he does not deserve to walk me down the aisle, and that I am breaking her heart for wanting him to walk me instead of her. I should mention that I love my mom immensely and have cared for her, often to the point of disregard to my own health. But I want my father to walk me down the aisle. In my defense, it is my wedding. In her defense, I imagine it must be hard for her to see a man that she hates so strongly to get to walk her daughter down the aisle, dancing with her during the father-daughter dance, etc. I'm sure she will be uncomfortable at best, enraged, furious at worst if this happens at my wedding. In my defense, while this hasn't happened too often, there have been numerous times throughout the years after the divorce when my mother and father have met up with one another, in public and at my mother's home, to discuss important issues. Therefore, I can't imagine that she's afraid of or incredibly uncomfortable with the fact that she is going to be in the same place as my father for a period of time, and they won't even have to talk to each other. I think she is really just mad at the fact that he is going to have an important role in my wedding. She feels that he doesn't deserve it. I should also mention my other reasons for wanting him to walk me down the aisle. I have a couple sisters, both who do not have nearly as good a relationship with our dad that I do. One talks to him maybe once every 2 to 3 months and sends him birthday, Christmas, Father's Day gifts. The other, however, is estranged from him. Due to this, I may be the only chance for my father to walk one of his daughters down the aisle. I would be heartbroken if I denied him that chance to make my mother more comfortable. I know my fiance's stance, but since he is usually on my side anyhow, I'd like a more objective opinion from you. I'm really torn. I know what I want to do, but not what I should do. I feel like I'd be an a-hole if I disregarded my mother's feelings just so that I can do what I want. Not an a-hole. OP's mom shouldn't be interfering in OP's wedding like this, or making demands she knows hurts OP. However, if she isn't normally like that, and OP understands that she's demanding this simply because she's hurt, jealous, maybe the best option is to tell her that OP will not change her plans, because he means as much to OP as she does, but that OP has found her a special role in the wedding as well. Example: she could help OP in your dress while everyone else, bridesmaids, etc., leave the room, so she'd be the first person to see OP in the dress, or something similar. I have a friend who is getting married soon. We've known each other since middle school. She was my first roommate in college. We lived in the same apartment complex after the dorms. All this to say that although we've never been best friends, we've always been close. I have always supported her, always defended her, and always really liked her, to be honest. We get along great. So recently she got engaged, and I just blindly assumed that I would be invited. I got invited to the bridal shower bachelorette party combo recently and realized that I'd not ever received a save the date or wedding invitation, even though the wedding was in 6 weeks. I kind of thought it was weird and didn't want to make anything awkward, so I just kind of put it to the side for a couple of days. Before I could decide what to do, the bride sent me a text. I deleted it in anger, but here's the gist. Hey girlie, I know this is awkward, but I wanted to reach out and let you know why you haven't received a wedding invitation yet. The thing is, fiance and I both have huge families, and we are only inviting members of the wedding party to the wedding. Edit for context. I may have remembered this wrong, as I know a few of the girls going to the wedding, shower, bachelorette were not a part of the bridal party. My bad. I would really love it if you could make it to the bridal shower, bachelorette party though. We haven't seen each other in forever. I was kinda shocked at the absolute gall. I admit, I'm a very reactive person and couldn't stop myself from being a little bee in return. Friend, I have always cared deeply for you, but this is not only the rudest message I've ever received, it's also shockingly tacky. I won't be able to attend the party. I'm sorry. LOL. The LOL was especially B, but seriously, I can't wrap my head around the insanity of inviting someone to your bridal shower so you can get a gift out of them, but not wanting them at your wedding. The maid of honor, our very close childhood friend, reached out to me to let me know that the bride was extremely hurt and suggested I apologize. She acknowledged that the whole situation was awkward, but gave the typical, "It's her wedding, she's under a lot of stress, she's trying to do the right thing." I don't care if she didn't have room for me at the wedding. I think the text would have been sweet, but totally unnecessary if it was just her saying, "Sorry we couldn't fit everyone," and I would have completely understood. It's the shower bachelorette invitation that feels like a slap in the face. Am I being an a-hole? Should I apologize? Edit for additional context. I was the only person invited to the bridal shower bachelorette party who was not invited to the wedding. The bridal shower listed their registries, and I would never go to a bridal shower without a gift regardless. The bachelorette party invitations required that everyone bring a lingerie gift for a fun game that would be played at the party. I did not care if I was invited to the wedding. I feel it was bad manners at best to be invited to the parties in which gifts were required, when I was the only one attending who wasn't invited to the wedding. OP is not an a-hole. When you invite someone to pre-wedding events, it's expected that they are invited to the wedding. Sounds like the bride just wants to get more gifts by inviting OP to the shower, where gifts are expected. Very tacky. OP's message back wasn't very mature, but people aren't always the most eloquent when they're upset. Next time, OP should try to be the bigger person. It's hard when you are obviously in the right, but a nice response from OP will just make her look worse. Update. I called the bride and we talked. I apologized for being B and explained how her text made me feel. I said I understand the stress she must be under, But it felt rude of her to ask me to pre-wedding events, where gifts are expected, if I wasn't invited to the wedding, especially if I was the only one. She interrupted me at one point to insist that she didn't expect gifts from me. Maid of honor and some mutual friends let her know how tacky it is to invite someone to a bachelorette bridal shower but not the ceremony. She admitted it was a huge misstep on her part, but that she really just wanted me there in some way. She put off telling me because she didn't want to ruin our friendship or hurt me. She did a rude thing, with good intentions, that hurt my feelings, and then I reacted poorly out of anger. We just needed a little communication. Anyway, all's well that ends well. I'm going to both parties and bringing small gifts, even if I don't need to. Gonna have fun and celebrate my friend and spread the love and accept things for what they are. We can control how we respond to things we can't control.